Right, so Werewolf by Night is finally finished. I finally finished this last night. I have to caveat that it was midnight last night, so I may not have the best memory of what happened, especially in issue 4, but I will try my best to kind of review this in a good way, because it was a good book. It sets up something I don't necessarily think will be finished, but it is a good look into a new character that Marvel is bringing into the mythos. I don't know if they're going to do anything with it, but it is interesting to see a new version of the Werewolf by Night, which is kind of the version that that a lot of people, namely myself, would have wanted to see from the Werewolf by Night, which is this more like Hulk-esque character where it's kind of a Jekyll and Hyde, but by the end of the series there is a glimpse at the main character learning to control the werewolf, and the whole way that he's been controlling the wolf side of him for so long, for the last 16 years. He's 16 years old when the book starts. Is he has been using music. He's been listening to music. He wears headphones whilst in wolf form, and that's how he contains the wolf and keeps it under control. By the end of the book, it's more of a spiritual thing. It's more of a mutual kind of understanding between the two sides, and he learns to tame the wolf, at least somewhat. He's just it's more of a case where you see him talk in actual normal sentences in wolf form, and then you're like, right, there's the arc of the story. It's him learning to control this wolf. Everything else is kind of like a caveat to that. Like, Red Wolf is in this book for reasons, I guess, just to have a character, and for this to tie into the event that they're doing with all the young superheroes, the Outlawed event, which is just basically arresting all the vigilantes that are under a certain age. So all the teenage vigilantes like Miles Morales, Kamala Khan, all that, and making them sign up to basically the Registration Act again, but only for young superheroes. So it's kind of a civil war again, but not really, not necessarily. But yeah, I haven't been following that. So this is the only like Outlawed adjacent thing that I've been reading, and overall I liked this book. I think the artwork drops significantly in the later half, especially in the final issue. There is a lot of stuff in the final issue that is very rushed, and it feels like a very rushed issue, and it might have been that it was written like at the start of the pandemic. It may have been because it was just a rushed thing to get it out. Like, there was a lot more care put into the first couple issues, and then issue 3 and 4 just kind of feels a bit like a letdown. Not in writing standpoints, but the art especially. It seems like it was a bit rushed. It seems very rushed in the latter half of the book. The main story is Life Pharmaceuticals is taking people from this like tribal town, and the Werewolf by Night has to stop them. And there's more stuff that goes into the book, but it's all leading towards our protagonist basically controlling his powers. And then by the end of the book, Red Wolf is like, right, I'm going to take you under my wing, and I'm going to teach you how to be a superhero. how to be a vigilante, and that's the story. There is action in it, there is a lot of fighting, but there's not a lot of actual story outside of just seeing this character grow within four issues, and I liked that. But I don't think I'm going to remember Werewolf by Night by the end of the year. I don't think when I come back to do my end of year ranking all of the comics that I read this year, I don't think this is going to breach the top for me, mainly because it's not really, mainly because the last two issues were very rushed, and the first two issues, which came out in 2020, those were better, and I feel like it will place higher in the 2020 list than the 2021 list, mainly because it's only issue 4 that came out in 2021, and issue 4 is the weakest issue of all of them because it is the one that feels the most rushed. But overall, this book is definitely, I recommend reading it, because Werewolf by Night, outside of this, could be very important. Could be. I don't think he's going to be like on the Avengers or anything. I don't think he might be on the Thunderbolts, or he might be on the Savage Avengers, but I don't think he's going to be an Avengers level character. But I think he's going to be a much bigger character outside of this book. I don't see him getting. He might get another mini at some point, like hopefully one that isn't going to be as rushed as this. Hopefully one with a better artist. I'd love to see Clayton Crane do something with this, or give someone that's got a much more like abstract art style, like someone who can make the werewolf look more animalistic and more like vicious, and someone who's maybe got a more violent art style as well, because so we can see just how aggressive this werewolf actually is. But yeah, I liked half of this book, and the other half I tolerated. Unfortunately, the half that I tolerated was the latter half and the end of the book, because I think the book ends really, really quickly, and it's really rushed for us, because it's kind of like what should have been 2 issues was crammed into 1, and it does that thing where it's like we've written this to be an ongoing. We've written this to be a 6-issue arc for a storyline. We haven't written this to be a 4-issue mini. So when you're told, right, your last issue's next month, you better wrap up everything that you've set up in last issue, and the last issue suffers for that. That's what happens here. The last issue does suffer because of how much they have to tie up in the final issue, and where issue 3 leaves off and where issue 4 leaves off is definitely, there's still more to come. There's definitely going to be a sequel book at some point. Fuck knows when. I don't even know if it's going to come out, because I don't know how well this sold. But they do leave off at the end of this that there is going to be something more. So to close off, Werewolf by Night is solid. I recommend it. You should definitely. I don't think you should go out and seek it out, and I don't think that if you're reading a lot at the moment that this is something that is recommended reading. But if the Werewolf by Night, this version of the Werewolf by Night, becomes like a more important character going forward and starts tying into other books and more important characters, then yeah, probably go back to this, because it is solid. It's not overly bad. It's just that last issue seems really quite rushed, and I think that is mainly because of the pandemic. But yeah, I liked this. I liked it a lot. But anyways, I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Peace.